Srimad Bhagavatam describes that all these vices or anarthas coexist. All of them are like a family. And therefore, if one is invited, all others come. So therefore, if one becomes, say for example, if one allows greed to enter his heart, lust will also enter, anger will also enter, envy will also enter, illusion will also enter. And the same thing applies for anything else. In fact, it is explained that this attachment for wealth, woman, name and fame is like poison for the living entity. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, Nathanam na janam na sundari kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishwara bhavatada bhaktira hetuki tvai. Lord Chaitanya Dev is telling, na dhanam, I do not want wealth. Na janam, I do not want a very high aristocratic birth. Na sundarim, I do not want women. Na kavitam, I do not want name and fame. But I only want your lotus feet. Jagadish Nam. And what is the desire? Then he says, what I want. He is telling. Janmani Janmaneshwara, life after life, that I may be engaged in your loving devotion and service. Avatada Bhaktir Ahetu Hetu. That bhakti I should perform, that loving service I should perform, which is without any material motivation. Without any material motivation. So today we wanted to touch upon in this thread or going going a little further in this thread. We wanted to get a semblance of what happens embarking on journey or embarking upon embarking on a chase for these temporary material objects. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, in which there is this very beautiful section about what happens when a person is attached, is chasing, is passionate after wealth. So there is this beautiful section, it comes in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the realization of Avanti Brahmana, who in his career was a very rich industrialist, a merchant, businessman, and then he suffered reversals. His family abandoned him because he became from riches to rags. No, on the weather. He was quite successful for a good long time. And at the fag end of his career, everything got blooped, so his family members abandoned him. And in that state now, Avanti Brahmana, he took a positive lesson. He took shelter of Lord. He went to the forest. He became a great devotee. And these words are his realization about material affairs. So let's read. It's very interesting. There is 11th canto, 23rd chapter. This chapter is entitled as The Song of the Avanti Brahmana. So I am reading text 1819, which is very interesting. Steyam himsan vitam dam kama krodham smayo madam bhedo vairam avishwasam samspardha vyasanani cha ete panchadashanad ayarthamola matanena tasmadanartham arthakyam shreyo arthi duratastajit. Translation: theft, violence, speaking lies, duplicity, lust, anger, perplexity, pride, quarreling, enmity, faithlessness, envy, and the dangers caused by woman, gambling, and intoxication are the 15 undesirable qualities that contaminate men because of greed for wealth. Although these qualities are undesirable, men falsely ascribe value to them. One desiring to achieve the real benefit of life should therefore remain aloof from undesirable material wealth. The words anartham, arthakyam, or undesirable wealth indicate wealth that cannot be efficiently engaged in the loving service of the Lord. Such superfluous money or property will undoubtedly pollute a man with all of the above mentioned qualities and therefore should be given up. So one previous verse to that says, the translation says that in the earning, attainment, increase, protection, expense, loss, and enjoyment of wealth, all men experience great labor, fear, anxiety, and delusion. So this is very interesting because here the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam from the words of from the realizations of Avanti Brahmana, we are beginning to understand that if we allow greed for wealth to enter our heart, it's not just that one thing, a little greed. Along with that, there are these, there are these 20 more qualities which enter our hearts. That is the point. It's a full package. It's a full package. So, many times it appears that the play with material energy, It's only a short burst. After all, we are not very serious. It's a little bit of material energy, a little bit of taste of flavor of material energy. But our scriptures define it. Our scriptures reveal it differently. Our scriptures are revealing this attachment for material energy as poison, or just like cyanide. A little quantity is good enough to kill. Similarly, greed, lust, anarthas are like that. A little bit callous corner is good enough to destroy us. Why is like that? Because we see that it's just like a virus entering the body. Even if it is one virus, it expands thousands of times. It expands, so it leads to such an exponential increase that the whole body becomes infected in no time. This is what happens. This is what happens when we pursue a greed for wealth, woman, name, fame, following, so on. It multiplies like a virus. And that, in a qualitative term, is explained here. That for that one negative quality, we are getting 20 negative qualities installed in our system. And if you just meditate back on the list, we can see, if you read the list, and then if you want to add on, okay, what other negative quality or another remains? It is a very exhaustive list. More or less nothing remains. Everything is covered. So one thing we touch and we are infected with everything. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. So therefore, a sadhaka, a devotee, has to be very, very alert. Very alert. Not to be touched or hooked by these negative anarthas. So 20 unwanted things follow greed for wealth. Let's scroll them up one by one. So yes, no doubt, anarthas are like an intoxication. An intoxicated man doesn't hear. He's intoxicated. He's not compiling at all. So compilation means turning or hearing. So he's not hearing at all. And the input is just going in, coming out. So that's the case of an intoxicated man. And definitely greed leads one to intoxication. So, so such a person becomes deaf to any positive transcendental advice. So we'll try to list or remember this big list which the verse is giving us by the word deaf itself. So what does one get by greed for wealth? One can get 4 Ds. 4 Ds. The first D is distress. One is wanting wealth for the sake of happiness, but what one gets is the opposite, distress. Distress. So, why? Because one's desires increase exponentially. Now you see, material desire is a very tough game. If material desires are fulfilled, then we see that it is getting fulfilled, and therefore the desires increase exponentially. You see the point? Now we say, okay, the material desire is not fulfilled. Because it is not fulfilled, it increases the hankering exponentially. But hankering is yet another form of desire. So fulfilled or unfulfilled, material desire always goes on increasing. If it is fulfilled, then also it increases. If it is not fulfilled, then also it increases. How dangerous is material desire? Whatever be the case of conditioning, the material desire always goes on increasing, fulfilled or unfulfilled. So this is how material desires are very dangerous actually. And therefore we will see that the greed for wealth leads to distress because one's desires go on increasing exponentially. Go on increasing. Second, the second D is perception. Deception. So we have seen actually that when, especially the time when we have seen actually, especially the time when a student passes from or graduates and passes on to a phase of earning. Now it's the first time in life the person started earning. So we have seen there is a noteworthy change which happens, or there is a tremendous change which happens in a person's outlook, person's behavior, and so on. Why? Because all of a sudden in his life now, he's getting a free access to money handle. Gets a money handle, the salary is coming in the bank account, do online transactions. Now you really don't have to ask anything, because then you have the bank money with you. No, and many times parents are not watching the account, so you get spent. So we are seeing there is a remarkable difference which comes, actually change which comes even in devotees who pass. And that's where so these three D's which Bhagavatam is mentioning, we have seen practically happen. Now, one of them is deception, one of them is duplicity, and the fourth D is disagreement. So what is disagreement? Disagreement means that all of a sudden the mentality to follow is weakened. The malleability gets weakened. Why? Because all of a sudden one has interface money power. And that money power does such a chemical reaction that the person starts not thinking in lines of disagreement. The malleability is lost. The attitude to follow is dampened, weakened. That's what happens. So what is happening is, then what is happening is we have seen this change of attitude, that a person is passed out. Now in his student days he has been following principles of Krishna consciousness very nicely. Now all of a sudden he passed out. And because and now he and now we see that the person dampens his practice. And what is the reason? What he feels? He feels now I should be more practical. Now I cannot tune into any such algorithms. Let me be a little more practical. So what is this practical? Being practical, person stops following. Person stops following. Like say for example, we teach students to get up early in the morning and to do morning practices early in the morning. Now that is not just a phase when one is a student. And the student life, the training is given, but the purpose of the training is to equip and enable the to equip the student so that lifelong he can practice. So we do training just like we learn driving a car, not just because we didn't have anything else to do in life. People generally learn driving a car when they purchase a car or they are about to purchase a car. Is it not? When they are about to purchase a car. So we don't learn driving if you have no access to car or if you have no plans to drive a car. Is it the same? So the training always precedes an application. In a similar life, spiritual training uh, should follow or should spiritual training. Uh, so spiritual training should always precede an application. But then if the spiritual training is given up, that shows laxity on the part of the person. So, uh, so this goes to show now. Now we can understand why the disagreement is arising, because the heart is getting contaminated, the heart is getting infected, just like disease. So this is a disease condition. So we have seen this happen. Duplicity, duplicity happens. This is very commonly seen when people have money. You will see for comforts, people are ready to spend any amount of money. I have seen the same person, for Diwali crackers, he's spending 2 lakh rupees, but to give 20 rupees donation, his heart is crying. 20 rupees donation, his heart is crying. So you see, this is duplicity. So when it comes to spiritual life, when it comes to, spiritual life, when it comes to social cause, then people's heart is pounding up and down. When it comes to lavishness, no, person spends. So you see the duplicity. The heart has become now so crooked. This is all because of the taste for wealth, the intoxication that is created by this infection of the greed for wealth. Deception. Uh, deception. All of a sudden, a person learns all kinds of crooked behavioral patterns. We have seen that. Like I remember I was in Bangalore those days and we were working and we were all staying together as devotees. Morning we used to have morning program and daytime we used to go for working. And yeah, we used to cook prasad of food. So I remember one of our devotees, so one day he came from his company, he was crying, he was very morose and all that. And then we were then we were trying to understand to help him out. What is the problem? So then, so his problem was, he revealed his problem was what? He said that his problem was that, his company was sending him abroad and he was fearful he will not get devotee association, he will not get a spiritual culture, and how will he practice and how will he. So that was his fear actually. And we were empathizing, trying to encourage him, so no problem. The company is sending, what can be done and all that. So, uh, I remember this devotee was in yeah, he had gone to Japan, and after a week or so, I had pinged him, that how is your life and all. He was crying tears, and he was telling Guruji. Then I was trying to encourage, said no problem, no problem, no. So he was telling he comes back from his office at 1 o'clock. He goes, he has to report back at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and he said he has no time to even cook food. So he was telling that he is only cooking some rice in the morning and whole day he's eating that. That's what he told me. And then he was telling, and that is the time when he was telling me, I mean, on being he was revealing, I mean, he said, Roji, I myself was so eager to go abroad. I said, Are you are so morose and all, you telling devotees you don't want to go. He said, No, myself only I was hankering. 2 years I worked for it to get a foreign chance. And now I came here, I'm so miserable. And this is so hectic. This is so, now people are so pathetic and it's so exploitative and so on. So that's the point. So this, you see the point, the person, a genuine person who is trying to sincerely practice. But the point is that you see how this whole, the mindset gets corrupted so badly. Deception. The next point is E. E stands for two things. There are two E's which one will get. There are two E's which one get. One is envy. Wealth means always envy. If you don't have, you're going to be envious of everyone. And if you have, still you are going to become envious of everyone. I may say, how is this so? How is this so? If you don't have wealth, then obviously you can become envious of everyone. But if you have wealth, then also you're going to become envious of everyone. See how interesting it is. Because if you don't have, then anyways all the others are above you. So then you'll be envious of them. And if you have, that means you are in some position or ranking. And why to be envious of the people below? So, but envy doesn't discriminate like that. How envy works? We are envious of people above because they are above. We are envious of people below because we fear that they will go above someday. This is envy. Very pathetic. The second E which one gets is enmity. So, yeah, enmity. One considers the other person as one's enemy. So we will see, like say for example, if you see Indian cinema, or if you see this love cinema per se, how many movies are simply based on this theme of revenge and violence? Everything is that much. Hardly you will find movies which are based on selflessness, sacrifice. You see mostly violence, revenge, violence, enmity, enmity. The next one gets A. A stands for, there are two A's which one gets. One is attachment to woman. So yes, the greed comes lust, the attachment to woman. That comes as a free gift. So that's how it is explained, that one gets wealth. Now one wants someone with whom one can try to enjoy that wealth. So one wants women, then one wants followers. All of them come as a free gift. All of them. Attachment to woman. It comes with wealth. The next A is anger. So yes, greed if unfulfilled, or if if there's a full stop in the velocity at which the greed is being fueled, then that will lead to anger. So why anger arises? Because you see, wealth, why anger is arising? Because wealth makes a person feel that, makes a person feel that as if he's great because he's earning some money. Now he has something in his pocket, so he's great. And therefore, a person feels more and more irritated if somebody is trying to dictate to him. So he feels, I'm great. No one should be able to dictate to me. That's anger. Then with this one gets now in depth. The next point is F. Two F's we will get. Two F's we are getting. So one is feverishness. So one's madness or frenzy goes on increasing. This fever doesn't come down. So if you say, okay, how much is too much? There is nothing too much actually. It's not. The interesting story is told in traditional, no, I mean, in the Western traditional societies also. That there was this fellow, he was offered that, okay, you can get as much land as you can run, but you have to come back by evening. So this fellow kept running, running, running. He didn't turn actually. He thought that to get more land, more land, more land. By the time he was running one way, only the sunset. He didn't got anything. Greedy fellow. But then whole day he was running. He was so tired, he just collapsed. He said that. So that's feverishness, not that madness. Feverishness is that madness actually, which goes on increasing. Yeah, that's a great formula. The next point is faithlessness. Now this is another aspect which can make us understand that how these wealth greed for wealth is going to be very dangerous because it leads to faithlessness. A person will feel, okay, my life is going on more or less fine.